All right, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On this episode of the Simulcast, we're talking about murder, 5G, the CIA, and we're back. It's all right here on the Simulcast. All right, so we are back. This is episode 252, and it's been quite a while since I've hosted a Simulcast. I think it's been about 2 years, maybe. I don't remember. I'm Bill Stebbins. I'm your host, and I am joined by three wonderful people. You'll recognize all of them. First up, Patrick Vergadamo.
What's up? And yes, you're right, 2 years.
Yeah, wow. We also have Brian Feldhouse.
Hey, guys.
And last but certainly not least, Donnie Benfield.
What's going on? Do I get the record for like most shows ever been on now?
Could be. I think I've been on almost all of them too.
Yeah, it's like I've been a host of some sort on a lot of shows now. I feel like.
Oh yeah, as far as the variety, yeah,
Right.
definitely.
And I apologize for the background. Anybody watching the YouTube feed, this is my expansion area and the only place I can get away from 4 kids.
No, you're fine. I'm hiding in the basement as well. Mine just happens to be finished, but
Yeah, it will be finished eventually.
yeah. All right, so we're back. If you've listened to the Simulcast before, you kind of know what we're all about. We're going to be a little bit different because a lot of our lives have gotten different changes, kids, families, everything like that. We're going to try and do this once a month rather than every week so that there's not so much pressure on us to put together good content on a weekly basis. We can kind of put it together on a monthly basis instead. If you won't need your fix, obviously, we have plenty of other shows on the podcast network. So that should suffice for now. We'll see how it goes. We're also, instead of just going down a list of topics that for news and talking about those, we're going to do it a little bit different. So you'll kind of see, and we'd love to hear your feedback. So once you've listened to the show or watched the show on YouTube, we are live streaming. Be sure to reach out to us, podcast@thesimulcast.com. And I need to fix that email. I tested that earlier today, and Dave responded, Jeff responded, and Steve responded. So we'll get that forwarding fixed, but that podcast at simulcast.com still works. So be sure and send us your feedback. We'd love to hear it. We're excited to be back. So let's get right into the first thing we're going to talk about tonight, which is what's new in mobile. So we had some Mobile World Congress stuff that came up. Patrick, did you want to kind of touch on those first?
I mean, you and I had talked about this. For those who also have watched the AXP podcast, we talked a little bit. To me, it was somewhat underwhelming. I mean, we've had some things come through with mobile. Obviously, we have Samsung kind of coming out with the stuff with the new S8. Hopefully, it won't explode.
Yeah, I'm seeing some leaks from one of the leakers on Twitter, and apparently there's an S8 Plus that he's showing now, and it wasn't clear if they're going to not have a Note 8 or if that was just kind of him being obtuse, I guess is the word.
I think Samsung's going to have to redeem itself with this phone. And they're going to have to throw everything at it because, I mean, the Note was, with all deference to the Galaxy S line, the Note had become kind of its crown jewel, and they completely bombed it. So, I mean, they're going to have to get people's confidence back.
I think that we'll see another Note. I don't think there's any doubt on that.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I mean, because that was kind of their flagship that started it all. And I remember, Brian, I think you were one of the people that were making fun of me and my big ass phone.
I probably was, yeah. Now look at me, right?
That's hilarious when you think back at that.
Yeah.
And we called it back then. We said, when Apple makes a big phone and you're carrying it around and you won't look ridiculous, I'm going to call you out on it.
It's true.
Yep.
No, it's definitely true. We probably said that once or twice on the way.
It's all in good.
No,
fun.
but Samsung really took, I think a lot of heat for that. Just in the public, I've heard a lot of people talking, about it. And I think I was down. Actually, I was down at the University of Miami, and they had a charging station. They had a lot of charging stations around the hospital and the facilities, and every one of the charging stations had a Note 7 sticker, basically saying, "Do not even think about charging your phone." I think I posted it on Twitter actually, but so they've got a lot of to make it right. I mean, I'm sure, like Donnie said, they're going to come, but they're definitely going to have one, at some point. But
yeah, I mean, they kind of have to.
As far as safety, I mean, think of they can't take them on planes. You can't take them in certain. It's an uphill battle for them, I think.
It was bad enough that they had to get carriers to go in and shut them down because people wouldn't turn them in. I mean, it's bad at that point.
It's still probably cool to have one.
People still using them,
I saw a commercial the other night. It was something about Samsung and their like 12-point battery inspection something, and it was kind of like we're sorry, here's what we're going to do, please buy our new device when it comes out kind of thing. And it was like, I was like, what was that again? And I replayed it and I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah.
So moving on from Samsung, one of the things I think was at Mobile World Congress was some Android Wear stuff.
Yes.
And so I'm a little frustrated right now because Mobile World Congress announcement, Android Wear 2.0, February something, I still don't have it on my Huawei watch, which is kind of a flagship for them.
Although I guess that's not completely surprising, considering one of the things Huawei announced at Mobile World Congress was the Huawei Watch 2 and the Watch 2 Classic. So
I need to send mine back that I just bought.
Well, honestly, Donnie, if you look at the new ones, not that I dislike them, but I think that the first one that we have is a much nicer looking watch. It looks like an actual watch, and I can't tell you how many people are fooled by the watch and the watch faces that are on it.
Yeah. I will say this though, the pictures of the Classic look really nice though. The Watch 2 Classic, I mean, with the two posts, I mean, if you look at it without knowing better, you'd almost think it was a real watch.
Yeah, I mean, I posted a picture of mine on Instagram with a Cadillac watch face I had made, and all these people were going crazy because it was like a Breitling watch face. And they're like, I've looked everywhere and I can't find the Breitling makes one. Where did you have that made? And I'm like,
so I'm looking at it now. There's a sport and a regular one now? Is what you are saying?
Yeah.
And the regular one has like little numbers around like a twisty dial.
Yep.
That's ugly.
Yep.
Sorry if anyone likes it.
No, I mean, it's kind of like that Watcher Bane. I think that one had the big numbers around it at one point. One iteration.
Yeah, that one made me think of an Invicta.
Yeah. So it just wasn't my style. It'll work for somebody, but
what's the internals? Are the internals that much better? That's the question, I guess.
Probably not. I mean, from what I understand, Android Wear 2.0, the software itself is really good. And so that'll kind of fix some of the nitpick stuff about, lag and stuttering and things like that.
Well, I will say this. The one thing that may make you want the Watch 2 versus the first one is because Android Wear 2.0 is going to support mobile payments for Android Pay, and they'll have the newer one has the NFC chips in it.
Yeah, that doesn't excite me at all.
Watch 3 has NFC, and they're not updating it.
I just don't want to pay with my watch. Even when I was on iPhone and Apple Watch, I would rather pay with my phone. I don't know why. I'm just weird. You have to put a passcode lock on your watch, and I just didn't want to do that.
Yeah,
that can be a problem.
Yeah, it's a hassle. So I'll just use my phone.
Yeah,
that's just me.
Especially since you can use Imprint.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't really remember a whole lot else that came out of the Mobile World Congress. Do you guys remember anything else we want to cover?
The only other thing kind of Samsung that was interesting, because with the Note, they announced the new tab, the S3, which was going to have the stylus and everything because they hadn't come out with a new Note tablet. But the thing that kind of made me kind of go, it comes with Marshmallow. I'm like, at this point, really? You're going to announce a new device and come with Marshmallow? Really?
Yeah, no. We're getting ready for Oreo, man.
Yeah, anything releasing with Marshmallow I would think is a pretty big fail.
Especially at this point. And
right.
It's a new device that in theory isn't even out yet. You're announcing it and it's already old.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And I mean, I love my tablet, but does anybody still use tablets? I mean, I see them occasionally, but
Me?
Okay, Donnie does good. Okay.
Yes. I like it's pretty much my laptop. My iPad is. I'm not real happy with using an iPad right now, but I mean, I'm a tablet user.
Yeah, I use mine all the time. When I'm not at work and using my MacBook Pro, I'm actually on the Pixel C most of the time, just for the bigger screen. And the one thing that sucks is Allo doesn't work on there if you have it loaded somewhere else, and that's a whole nother cluster.
I haven't had a tablet, I think, in a couple of years now. So.
Oh, you had that $30 one for like a week.
Yeah, but I sold that for a profit.
Oh, okay.
That was like Dave Valley style, man. I flipped that baby for like $250 or something. That was a big profit. No, but I honestly, I think for myself, I do miss the tablet, but after not using one, I'm so used to using my 6S Plus. Just use that half the time, and I guess I've gotten used to not even having a tablet around. So
you don't. What do you use like when you're going to use a laptop? Do you just use your desktop, your Mac?
Yeah, I just use my Mac Mini. Yeah.
I don't really have a spot for a desktop, so we're kind of forced to have a laptop.
I've downsized everything, so I just got a nice small little desk. I'm very minimalistic now, so it works. It works right now for me,
Cool.
I still have too many applications that I need to run on a laptop to be solely dependent on a tablet. Can't run Photoshop. There's some other software that just doesn't work, like with our vinyl cutter and that kind of stuff. So until that gets kind of sorted out, I can't really do it.
Well, I don't know which one I'm going to next, but I'll probably continue to use I used a Surface for a while, and it was an interesting project. I'm not against it. I really am not. It's only thing I would say is it's really more of a laptop than it is a tablet.
Yeah.
It's kind of confused a little bit, and when I pick up an iPad is definitely a tablet. When I pick up the Surface is wanting to be more of a laptop than it is a tablet. But it's still, if you want to, it's a good device to have in both. Just my opinion.
Go ahead. Well, I was going to say, what I want is an update of the Pixel C. Just give me a stylus, and I'll be good.
Are they going to still make? Well, they're not making the Pixel laptop, I guess, is what.
Well,
right.
They came back later and said they're not currently ready to announce anything for that. So they're not necessarily not, but he came back and they're going to make something.
I mean, the Chromebooks are so popular, and the Pixel's kind of like the nerds version of the Chromebook. I mean,
yeah,
they're going to have to.
Do they still have the Pixel C on the Play Store?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You figure right now too with the Pixel for the Chromebook, they're not going to step on Samsung because they've already trying to get them to not move away from Android Wear. And Samsung just announced their the Chromebook Pro and Plus, so they're going to let them kind of have their moment for Chromebooks.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when the Chromebook first came out, I really wanted to get one of those first gen. You remember the ones they were just sending to people for free?
Yeah.
Just because I was curious, and as it's progressed,
CR48.
Yeah, to see how people have embraced them, and I've actually started recommending them. I mean, my youngest has one, and that's how she computes. She uses Google Docs, and there's a few things she can't do on it, but for the most part, she's good. And for the money, I mean, I think I only paid couple $100 for it like 3 or 4 years ago. So you really can't beat that.
That's exactly the same as my 8-year-old daughter. She's got a Samsung Chromebook, and that's all she uses.
Yeah.
That and an iPhone.
Yeah. And once the I know there's Chromebooks that have Android apps on it already. Hers isn't one of them, but I mean that, she uses an Android phone, so moving to a laptop that has those apps too would be really simple for her.
Yeah. I mean, that's one reason I think I've actually, and Bill and you and I have talked about this, I actually was interested in the Samsung Pro, which hasn't come out yet. The Plus came out, but the Pro is going to have the, was it M3 processor? I think, or what? It has the high. It's not the Atom. It's the actual mobile higher end processor. What I liked about it was it's a Chromebook. It does support Android apps, and it has an S Pen.
Mm-hmm.
Flip it around to tablet mode. So it's like that checks a lot of boxes.
I had an HP laptop a long time ago that had like the reversible screen. You could just flip it over and write on it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was the coolest thing ever. It was a resistive screen and it was terrible, but it was cool.
The T1200, TX1200.
Yeah, it was something like that.
I had that laptop. It broke on me. And then about a year later, they announced, oh, by the way, if you send this in, we'll give you money back. And I'm like, you think I kept a broke laptop for a year?
Wow. So speaking of broke laptop, no. So under some current events that are current, imagine that. There was a murder investigation in Arkansas where Amazon had given up some data from the Echo. Patrick, you're our legal correspondent. So.
Is this the part where I go to sleep?
This one's actually interesting, and it kind of maybe ties into our third thing on current events. But there was some question when this came out. The police were asking for Amazon. They're like, wait a minute, you record audio from the time Alexa says stuff and potentially listening for that stuff. There may be metadata that may have recordings. And so people started perking up because initially everybody expected it only listened when it heard that Alexa. Well, apparently,
hey, stop.
You want to? I can order you a dollhouse.
Yeah, I'm sick of that story. Or she says pornographic things to kids.
Oh God!
But what's interesting about this is there was a question about what really is the Echo Dot and everything listening to and recording. And apparently there was enough that they sent data to the police. So this is going to be, it should be interesting to see if anything comes out of this, because then people may have second thoughts about having devices sitting around listening.
Yeah.
Will it be admissible in court though, Patrick? That's the thing.
It would here because in theory, well, it's an interesting question because it's not on your device and they're not going in your house to get it. It's just like your cell phone records. The courts historically have said you have a privacy right on your phone, but anything that goes to your carrier, you have no right of expectation of privacy. And so if it's on Amazon's side, the question is going to be, if they kind of go with that jurisprudence, they're going to be able to take anything your device is listening in and recording and go to Amazon and get it.
When I first got a device in my house like this, I didn't really think much of it because I expected that the device was just listening for the keyword and anything else was discarded. But that's a little disconcerting. And I think there's going to be a huge backlash the more consumers actually become aware of this, which we can jump right into the other topic. That is
you weren't scared already.
Yeah, the kind of the Vault 7 CIA dump from WikiLeaks that was released, I think it was yesterday. Holy crap, this is just like out of some movie.
1984.
That's crazy.
I mean, we are essentially buying these devices and allowing them to see and hear everything. And all these tech companies, I don't think that they're involved. But like, I've got a Samsung TV. It doesn't have a microphone, and a camera. But what else are they collecting?
Yeah, I mean, and we've had histories of this with the stories with encryption programs. It was hard to get good encryption program made here in the US because the feds were requiring backdoors into all this, which was defeating the purpose why a lot of people wanted encryption. If it can be broke by them, it can be broke by someone else. So you kind of wonder, how much is it maybe the manufacturers doing it and because they're being told to and are being complicit, and then how much is it that they've just got really good people that are able to go in and find ways around and use technology for other purposes.
Well, and these hacking tools, I guess is what they're calling them, quotes, hack, this is even before the encryption. So they're able to hack in before anything's even encrypted, whether it's on your phone or your...
Well, if it's built into the device and it's something they can exploit, the question is are they discovering exploits they can use, or are the manufacturers helping them put the exploits in to make it easier?
I don't know. It blew my mind when I heard about this, because I thought, man, the stuff. I mean, I've got an Alexa out there. I think, Bill, you have what, Google Home?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, just these things that are listening, and, we're trying to get into, automating our lives. And it's just scary to think that they had all these tools to begin with,
Well, I used to always think it was kind of crazy, the people who sit there and put the little piece of tape over their webcam on their laptop. Maybe not so much now.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out an elegant solution for that. My boss has this little door that slides back and forth so he can open it or close it on his camera thing. I'm like, I need one of those.
I know the iMac has like a little magnet thing you can use.
Well, here's what I think about it, and I stick with what I say. I live life like there is not any privacy with my electronics, and you pretty much have to, or you just have to quit using them, because it's not going to stop. It's not going to get any better. We don't have privacy. I mean, you just have to know. I mean, your phone's in your pocket. You can say that Alexa's listening all the time, and she is in my house. We have two. But my Lord, I'm carrying around a Google phone in my pocket that's listening constantly. People are listening for OK Google. We have iPhones listening, and there it went. And we have iPhones listening for, I'm not going to say the name. But I mean, I just feel like you can't get away from it. There's microphones and cameras everywhere you go. So people freak out about Alexa, and I'm like, there's phones everywhere. What's the big deal?
Yeah, it's crazy. And, it does open our eyes. I've always said that my life isn't interesting enough for anybody to care.
Exactly.
But at the same time, it's a little disconcerting. I think I'm going to rethink a few things that I do.
So why is it different than your phone?
It's not. It's just I didn't really.
Oh, okay. You weren't thinking about it that way.
I heard it and I'm like, put your tinfoil hat away. That's not going on.
Yeah, it's going on.
Yeah, it's going on.
It's going on. There's no doubt about that.
To like the umpteenth level.
Yep.
And it's not going to stop.
No, it's not.
Well, it's going to possibly get worse now, unless these vulnerabilities and stuff can be patched, and who knows what hackers get a hold of these tools now and stuff.
Except
what they're
going
to be doing.
They never let anybody use their data.
They already patched those.
Yeah, they want our data, and we will not give it up for a case.
It just takes feds go and hire a hacker.
Exactly.
Yeah, they got right into that one guy's terrorist phone.
Yeah, they hired a hacker to exploit it.
Yeah, got in there anyway. So
well, he just guessed the passcode, didn't he?
I think he did. Yeah.
Yeah, he just guessed the passcode. That's all it was. That's a hacker.
Wow.
So let's move right into let's talk about this real quick, and we'll get this out of the way. Verizon is supposed to start testing 5G sometime this year. I don't know what it's going to be called, but
my Pixel gets 5G.
I don't. I mean, great, but holy crap! I already get almost as fast a speed on LTE as I do on my home connection that's wired. So
what are you getting
on AT&T?
Verizon.
Oh, I don't have Verizon. I have AT&T.
Really?
I get
to the devil.
80 or so. Yeah, I switched about 2 years ago.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I got tired of Verizon and all the baloney with devices, and I was having a lot of trouble with their service, believe it or not. So we switched to AT&T, and been super happy with it. Get about like 70 or 80 down,
Wow.
which is, great. So yeah, but 5G, do we need it? No. Will it be nice to have? Yes. I hope they get some standard together so that all of them don't have, because we're just getting to where you can buy a phone that works on every carrier within the last year or two, which is super nice.
That's awesome.
Especially now that we don't have any contracts for the most part, and you can jump as much as you want.
Yeah.
We dreamed about this like 5 years ago.
We did. And the crazy thing, I don't have any desire to like switch to another carrier to get a different phone, or I've got my Pixel and I'm super happy with it. So it doesn't even enter my mind.
Yep. Very cool.
You could jump ship anytime.
I could.
It's nice, yeah.
But you
It's a
don't
nice
because
feeling.
you're good with it.
And the craziest thing, we have unlimited on every carrier again.
Yes.
Or do
Yeah,
we?
but they're
Oh, sorry.
gimping that stuff though. Yeah. Yeah, you get
Switch
3
mode
megs
to the
down
mode.
or something, I think I'll stick with what I have.
1.5.
Whatever. Yeah. You can have unlimited data, but at,
yeah.
dial up speeds pretty much. No.
But that's Sprint.
3G speeds.
Yeah.
If I see the 3G, I cry.
I will say this though, that with the 5G, my biggest concern is we don't end up with repeating the whole WiMAX, HSPA plus. What exactly is 4G with 5G?
Yep.
But then the other thing is, I'm looking forward to it because maybe once 5G starts hitting, we can get rid of 3G, so you don't see that anymore.
I thought I heard by 2018 it was all supposed to be LTE. Is that correct, or am I dreaming?
I think that's the goal.
Yeah.
We'll see it. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
I mean, we still had cellular in some places when you were just getting to the higher ends of 3G.
I'm on edge.
I wonder if it's ever going to get to a point where you just won't even really need home internet. These phones are going to be so fast, and you can pretty much tether anything you wanted, or
I mean, you theoretically could today. The only limitation is the data.
Whatever.
The caps are smaller, yeah.
But I mean, eventually we're talking 5G now, and where's it going to go beyond that? And next thing you know, it's going to be crazy. You probably won't even need home internet.
I dream of a day for that, Brian.
Yeah.
It's not coming anytime soon, I don't think.
All right, so let's switch gears and talk about everybody's favorite topic, net neutrality.
This is
Patrick,
awesome.
did you put this in here?
Yes, I did.
It sounded like a lawyer.
I just find, to me, it's interesting to kind of going back and forth in this. Personally, I've always been a fan of the idea of having net neutrality rules, because my big thing with this, for those listeners who aren't aware of this, the whole issue with net neutrality is to make ISPs and those who provide service for internet, keep them and carriers who provide data services from being able to give preference to one type of issue over another. Not in the sense, I don't necessarily have a problem with the I'm trying to remember what they call it. The thing T-Mobile started it, and the AT&T, and then we've done it. The zero, basically where they won't count these services towards your data cap. I don't necessarily have a problem with those, but the idea of net neutrality is we don't get a situation where there was a question at the beginning of the internet of whether, if you want this package, kind of what we have for cable, if you want Netflix, you got to pay for this extra package to be able to have access if you want full speeds for that service. Whereas if you can get this with this package, we'll give you this, and you can have access to all the AT&T related data things and sources for content. But if you want these other ones and be able to get them at normal speeds, you got to pay this extra fee, which creates a problem because whoever controls the content you watch ultimately controls what you view and what you learn from those devices. I mean, it keeps it from being a true free market.
Right.
I've always believed whoever's providing your access to content, shouldn't they themselves be a content provider? Because then it creates a potential for monopoly for them to push their content, see cable service with their on demand and stuff.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, and there's opinions all over the place, and you keep hearing both sides. I don't know what's going to happen with it. Ideally, carriers would just be dumb pipes, and we would just connect the way we want to, and they don't do any of that. But I guess we'll see at some point if that gets shaken out. I think right now there's a whole lot of other things that are trying to get sorted out.
Yeah. When I say with that, probably the bigger issue that probably has to be resolved before that, kind of what we talked about earlier, the internet and your connection to the stuff, you can't live without that nowadays. And so, I mean, there is a good argument for those who want to take internet access and say it should be treated like any other utility, like electricity, water, things of that stuff. You kind of have to have it to get through everything. I mean, the IRS wants you to file electronically. They give you massive benefits on getting your refund if you do it electronically. Well, you can't do it without internet. And so I think, like you said, with the dumb pipe thing, treat internet should be a utility. I mean, it is something that you kind of need now for everything, whether it's to view things, the media like Netflix, things of that sort. Most of your newspapers have killed print. They're all electronic online now. I mean,
yeah. I mean, and that's a good point. I mean, it is more than just a luxury. I mean, if I didn't have internet, I wouldn't be able to work from home ever. And I remember those days when, I didn't have that flexibility. You wouldn't be able to keep tabs on your house. I mean, that's a little bit of a luxury, but that kind of stuff, the connectivity that we have today, and actually that kind of leads into something that I was kind of wanting to talk about for a second. With home automation, I mean, you've got to have internet at your home in order for that stuff to work. And I don't know about you guys, but I've kind of embraced a lot of that. And apparently the CIA is really happy that I did. So I currently have some cameras. I have a Nest thermostat. We have the Hue lighting, and we have the Google Home stuff. I've got the Ring video doorbell. And I guess if you're a hacker and you're going to break into Bill's house, I'm telling you everything I have so you can just pick the vulnerability. But I got to say, out of all the stuff that I have, that video doorbell is fantastic.
I've been looking at it really strong. It's worth it.
It was $125 on Amazon, or I can't remember, Black Friday maybe.
I would buy it for that.
I don't know about you, but every delivery person that brings something to my house is afraid to ring my doorbell. And I don't know why. They'll just throw crap on my porch, and I have no idea if it's there or what. And so being able to see that, hey, the UPS guy dropped a package off or whatever, or, hey, my kid just came in the front door. She's home from school. That's great. That is really kind of a game changer for me in terms of control.
Yeah, I'm looking to get one of those really soon. I can't decide if I want that or the my home door lock to be. I want to be able to open my front door with my phone. That's what I want to do.
I don't come into the front door a whole lot. We use our garage door most of the time, and we have the whatever that is on there. I have a Chamberlain one, my Q or something.
Yeah, I have that too. It's nice.
Yeah, the door lock thing is the one I most look for because I hate getting to my door.
Exactly.
Trying to dig out keys and dropping crap.
That's exactly how I am.
Lock and open.
Yeah.
Anybody know the best brand about it? I know we're completely veering off your Ring doorbell, Bill.
No, we're fine.
No, actually, I actually looked at the Ring doorbell things too. So I mean, those are interesting.
I want both.
Yeah.
Home automation is expensive. That's what I found out. I'm buying it slowly, but you can spend some thousands of dollars really quick.
It is so cool to have the control, and I guess I'm a control freak in some regards, but you ever get halfway to work and think, did I close the garage door?
That's the greatest thing ever. Look on your phone and
it's like closed 10 minutes ago. Yes.
But let me tell you what happened to me. I got my garage door going with the MyQ, and I got a false notification one day when I was at work. Wife's at work. I'm at work, and I freaked out. I did not know if somebody, because I get notifications when my door opens and closes, and I was freaking out. I had to call like 3 neighbors down to go check my house and make sure somebody wasn't in there. So after that, I bought a Nest Cam and I put it in my garage.
Yeah, there you go. I've got one in the garage.
I did that too.
I was like, I'm never doing that again. I was losing my mind.
You know, real quick though, I had some issues with mine giving me false notifications and like showing even the door was open. Finally, I actually found out the door was opening on its own.
Oh wow!
It was shorted. One of the controls. They had a 3-car garage, so one of the actual controllers on the wall was shorted out.
Oh,
so it would just open randomly, just out of the blue. Boop. So I put a Nest Cam in there because I had a few of them around the house, and I put one out in the garage, and I would actually get the notification. I'd see the door going up. And
oh wow, I've heard of that.
I thought it was scary. I mean, just a heads up, if something ever happens, go to the wall control, on the wall. It's usually that was what it was for me. I just replaced it and it was fine. So
I only had the one false notification that one time, but it was enough to make me put a camera in there.
Yeah, those cameras are great. We had at one point a problem with our smoke detectors, and one of them would randomly set off everything, and kept trying to figure it out. But in the meantime, my alarm would go off, and I was getting notifications while I was at work, and the alarm company was calling. And so being able to like pull it up on my phone and see that, hey, nothing's on fire,
right?
Was super nice.
Comforting. Oh, to answer your question, Donnie, about the door locks, the one I'd look real quick, see the one I had put kind of saved in my Amazon to see if it ever went on sale, is the August Smart Lock. It's a little higher on the end price, but most of the ratings and reviews I've read had it as one of the highest ones because it's Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and you can actually set up guest codes. So if somebody's coming over to your house to stay for a while, you can actually temporarily assign them so they can use the app on their phone.
Does it do? I wonder if it does it where you walk up to the door and it automatically opens.
Yes, it has that option.
That's what I want, like keyless entry.
What's really nice about that too, as well, is that it uses your existing lock, Donnie. So
yeah,
really,
you use any of those, yeah.
It just
so whenever you have nice locks on your door, it just mounts on the back, and yeah, you don't have to change your hardware out on your, So that's good.
Yeah, my front door is one of those doors that it's not, you don't have to push on it really hard to shut it or anything. It actually turns really easy. So it'd be a perfect door if I had to change the lock, but.
Well, what's good about this one for the back, because that's like Brian said, you only have to change the back. It's a big circle, kind of like the Nest.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
And so you cool. Turn it and it opens easy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get this.
I'm gonna have to start all over. I sold our home, so I sold.
If I sold my house, I'd be ripping everything out.
I didn't. I figured it was probably time to upgrade a lot of the. I had the original Nest. No, I actually had the 2nd gen Nest thermostat, and I figured, by the time I get a new home after this year, when we decide where we're going, then I'll just start buying new stuff and start over. So
I'm waiting for the Wemo light switch with the dimmer. That's what I'm waiting for. It's supposed to be out this spring.
And just out of curiosity, or an aside, I just got a notification that my garage door had been open for an hour, which is about the time my wife got home. So I just popped on, and as I was checking the notification, the garage door started going down. So apparently she got the notification too.
Now, Bill, do you have a camera out in your garage?
I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
So you just stare at your cars and stuff all the time? And
well, no, it's actually
no.
It's funny. I hassled my wife last week. She was trying to air the tire up in our Yukon, and I was like, the garage door's open. What's going on? So I popped on the Nest Cam, and I was messing with her the whole time. I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah, she's like, I'm trying to air the tire up, because you can talk back and forth on the Nest Cam. And I was like, are you sure you know what you're doing? Do you know how much PSI to put in that tire? I was wearing her out. She's probably thinking, man, I wish this camera wasn't in here.
My wife just turns them around. She gets pissed and just turns them so she can't.
It's way high in the ceiling. She would have to get on a ladder or something. Unplug it. She could have done that.
Throw things.
Yeah.
So that's some good stuff. I love talking about that stuff, and I got some home theater stuff I want to talk about. I think maybe next time we can kind of get get a little deeper into that stuff because I've kind of gotten back into that. I want to remind everybody, if you're listening and you've got some topics that you're interested in hearing us talk about, shoot us an email, podcast@thesimulcast.com. And we will try and incorporate that into, if it's interesting. If we don't think your topic's interesting, we're just not going to talk about it.
Yeah, don't take it personally or anything.
No,
We just don't want to talk about it.
that's the direction that Donnie wants to go. So that's what.
So, Bill, do you still have the Google Voice number?
Yes,
So you can leave us drunk voicemails, Clay.
I'm pretty sure I do.
Uh-oh.
I'll double check.
We have to have that, if nothing else, for Clay to give us drunk voicemails again.
Yeah. If you remember back, it's probably been 5 years ago. I've got them saved somewhere. Clay would call and he was drunk, and well, we're not sure he was drunk. We think maybe he just needed some coffee.
Guys, I'm thinking about switching to the Note full time. What do you think?
Don't do it. Don't do it, man.
And then we get the sober follow up later.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't know what I talked to you guys about, but
All right, so let's move on to the casting couch, which is one of my favorite parts of the show because we get to talk about what we're watching, listening to, reading, playing, or whatever. If you've been listening to the Simulcast ever, you'll know that I'm a big Survivor fan, and tonight Survivor started back. I'm actually missing the show so I can do this show.
That's crazy because I typed Survivor as you said Survivor. But here's the catch, Bill. I'm still in season 20. We started watching them on Hulu, so I'm not current. So don't spoil it.
Oh, well, and I always talk about this, and this is probably not politically correct, but one of my favorite things about Survivor is seeing all the people who are like not really fit, and then as the season progresses, they get pretty fit and ripped, and
they do, and then they look like crap on the reunion show.
Yeah.
It's like, what happened? You look so good by the end of the show.
Yeah, it's like I had a cheeseburger.
They ate like a couple pizzas and cheeseburger and just 6-pack of beer constantly, and it was over.
Yeah, so we've watched every single season of Survivor. My wife and I have started way back right after we got married, and so now my wife and kids both watch it with me, and so
it's a great show.
To jump on and watch that tonight.
I think I watched like one episode.
Oh man, Brian, don't get started. Me and my wife we've stayed up until like 2 a.m. and watch it, like power watching them sometimes because it gets so exciting. It's like, no, we've got to watch the next one. Got to watch the next one.
But is it really something you need to start from the beginning?
No. Well,
or can you just pick it up right now and just
say no? But there's sometimes where they have a season where they bring in people from the other season, which you wouldn't have to see it, but it definitely makes it more entertaining because you're like, holy crap, this guy's back or this girl's back, and it's very interesting.
You would get the inside jokes that way too.
Yeah, and it's amazing to see some people pair up with other people. You're thinking, oh my gosh, how are these two people going to play together?
Because
going on 20.
You're so dumb.
Yeah. I can officially say I would not play that game. If they asked me to play it, I would say no way. I can't do it.
I wouldn't be good at it because I'm too nice and too honest.
Well, there's a place for people like that, Bill, on the show.
Yeah, I know. It's on the jury.
Just not
it's on the jury. Yeah, that is a good point. But there have been some nice people win.
That's true.
That's why we're on the one now at season 20 where they had the evil versus the good.
Yeah.
And it's pretty interesting. I like it.
Yeah. So periodically, I'll give an update on my favorite Survivor moments, maybe, or if there's somebody that I particularly think is moving down the path of don't eat that cheeseburger. we'll circle back or something. I don't know. Patrick, what do you got for us?
So far as shows, I finally decided to pick up, because I caught up on some other shows, watching this from Sci-Fi, The Magicians and The Expanse. Both of the shows have been pretty good. I've read the books for both of those, and I will say this, for The Expanse, do yourself a favor, read the books before you watch the show, because it fills in and makes it, you can kind of understand what the hell's going on. The Magicians, you don't really have to read the books because they changed some of it. Although they do some running jokes in the show, like they rename one of the characters, and they actually make a crack about that this time because in the book she has a different name. Also picking back up The Flash, which has been pretty good this season. And then as far as playing, I got the Nintendo Switch and I've been playing Zelda Breath of the Wild. Really good game.
And how about you?
Nice. The Walking Dead. I've been watching that. Have you guys have heard obviously The Walking Dead? Probably your whole Twitter timeline is probably about that. And
I quit years
Sunday
back.
night. Did you?
Yeah, I never started back.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And then also I'm also listening to this one podcast I'm really enjoying. It's called Two Keto Dudes, and it's about these guys that have their journey basically on the ketogenic diet and how they've literally transformed their lives from being like diabetics to not being diabetics, and just the healthy transformation from the weight loss and the I listen to them all the time, and they're great. They're really helpful, just kind of trying to get you to change your lifestyle, eating habits, and if you're interested in any of that kind of stuff, it's definitely worth a listen. So you can check them out.
That's cool. That's always interesting to hear how people kind of follow some different plan to kind of change up their lives, and I find a lot of that inspirational.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's actually just something different than just listening to tech podcasts and stuff, because that's really kind of gone downhill lately.
Yeah, unfortunately it has, and it makes it tough to find good content. I'm glad
Tech podcasts suck, man.
Oh, all they do is talk politics and
That's
stuff.
all they do.
Gosh.
Let's talk tech, man.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, Donnie, what do you got this week?
I have Survivor, as previously stated. I've been watching a guy on YouTube. I'm sure everybody's heard of him, Casey Neistat. I ran across him the other day. I watch a lot of drone videos and quadcopter videos, and I don't know how I ran across him, but I'd never heard anything about him, and I started watching his videos, and I really enjoyed him. He was a daily vlogger for years, and I don't know why it's interesting to me to watch him, but I've been watching a lot of him. I watched the Goldbergs with the family, and I watched The Voice with the family. We're avid Voice watchers, so those are things we.
I see you tweeting sometimes to help one of the people.
Yeah, I try not to spam it too much, but at the very end of the show, like when it really matters, then I have to do it.
No, I don't care. I mean, you're hashtagging it. If people don't like it, then mute the hashtag.
But yeah, at the end of the show, when it really matters, that's when I'll jump on board and do it. But it's a fun show because and it's family friendly. I'm always looking for things that are family friendly in our house because we have the 4 little ones, so it's tough sometimes.
It's very hard to find family friendly stuff.
Yep.
All right, so Simulcast picks of the week. For some reason, it's called Blasts. I don't know what that is, but we're gonna put stuff on blast this week. Mine, and I'm gonna hopefully we'll talk about this more in depth next show, maybe. The HD home run. I have 2 of them now. If you didn't listen to the Android Experience podcast where I gushed about it, well, go back and listen to that. But it's basically a cable card tuner, and has 3 tuners built in. It works with either their software, which runs on Android or Windows, or it works with Windows Media Center and Media Center extenders. And they actually have a DVR function that is in development. And it also has a Kodi plugin and some other stuff. So go check that out or tune in next time and I'll talk a little bit more. I've had that particular tuner for about a month now. I'm really enjoying it. It's been super stable. And like I said, I'll talk about that next time and give you some more details. And it's a good way to save some money if you're using a cable company and their DVR and all that stuff. So,
or you can get a Fire TV or a Fire Stick.
Yeah, you could, because Kodi works on that as well, and the plugin works there too. So,
or you could build yourself a little Pi.
or you could do that too.
That'll work.
It does work on a Raspberry Pi as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in that, Bill. After the AXP podcast, I went and looked it up, and I was like, I remember him saying he has 6 tuners. Oh, that's I figured out now it's because you have 2 boxes.
Yeah, about 2.
I was like, wait a minute, this always says 2 or 3.
Yeah, one's good.
Yeah.
2's better.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are you putting on blast this week, Patrick?
I went with Zelda.
I don't know. That's what's in here.
What the is that? Is this supposed to be a mean thing? Like, let's blast it.
I don't put them on the blast. I don't know.
That has to be.
So
I know.
We know who put that in there.
Yeah. It's none of us.
Nope.
We might get drunk voicemails later. So I picked Zelda. I wanted to really pick the Switch, but I just don't think it has enough games right now. And I'm kind of disappointed that it didn't launch with the Virtual Console. But Zelda, I have to say, anybody who's ever played the old school Zelda games, like especially Ocarina of Time, this has somewhat of a feel of that in that it's an open world, you run around. But the things they've done with this are kind of borderline amazing. The engine that they use for this, they do really put in a lot of physics. One of the things with bombs, like if there's wind pushing through the area, it'll actually take the bomb and go with the wind, so you can kind of do strategy with it. And I mean, and they really put a lot of thought into hiding stuff into this. And so I've only played a little bit of it, and I'm already hooked. And so I can see this one. It's for people who used to complain about Zelda being kind of just too straightforward. There's a lot of this where you can expect to die a lot. And so, because I mean, it is hard. It's probably the hardest Zelda I've ever played, but it's rewarding and fun. And with the Switch, one of the nice things is the motion control capture of the controls. One of the things, if you're shooting a bow and arrow, instead of having to use the toggle, the analog stick to sit there and try to toggle your crosshairs, you can actually just move the Switch and it'll do it for you. So they put a lot of thought and effort into it.
Very cool.
Nice.
It's great.
Brian,
you,
you're up.
I'm up. My pick or blast of the week.
It's a pick.
All right.
We're calling it now. The blast is no more.
The show notes have been updated.
I got this speaker here. It's a
blast it.
Yeah. It's a Bluetooth
Ghetto
speaker.
blaster.
Yeah.
Hey, we should
You
name
put
this
it-
name
you
the
put it
show
up to your
title
ear like
Blast.
this. You play no. It's actually a really cool speaker. I picked it up on a like Best Buy deal of the day or something, and it was like $69. It's like a $200 speaker. You find every once in a while they run this deal on it on Best Buy. You have to catch it, but I put the link in the show notes. It's great. It works with Alexa real well. I actually anything Bluetooth. My Mac Mini even pairs up with it. It's really nice. So I don't have to have like a desktop full of speakers and all that. So it's really portable. It's good. Pretty good battery. It's like 6 hours of battery life, which isn't great, but for something that's just around the house, moving it around, it's pretty good. So also I have one app too that I think I told you about it, Donnie, as well. It's called Mobdro. It's I put the link in the show notes.
Cool app.
If you're looking for like live TV streams, and it's I have it on my Fire TV. You have to kind of side load it on there, but it's great. I mean, you literally get all your local channels. This I think actually has HBO, some other ones on there, and it's literally live streaming. It's live. It's not even it's real time. So check it out if you want to put it on your Android phone, or if you have an Android TV or something like that, or Fire Stick, you could do that as well. So
all these things I put on my Fire TV like this, I'm always like, oh, this feels sketchy. I don't know why. It just has a sketchy feeling. And then once I get it on there, I'm like, this is sweet.
Well,
You'll be ready for Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Very cool app, though. I agree.
Donnie, how about you this week?
I am picking the DJI Mavic Pro. I bought one a couple weeks ago. I haven't got to fly it. It's anybody that doesn't know what that is. It's a drone / quadcopter. You can label it as a drone, but it is their latest drone that it folds in and it gets really small, so you can carry it, and it still has a ton of the awesome features that like the Phantom has, and the Phantom 4, Phantom 3. Took me a while to get it, and I have only got to fly it 3 times because we've had horrible weather here, and my time has been limited. But so far from what I've seen, still expensive. It's a DJI product, and they're all expensive. But if you're looking for a drone that you can move around and has features that's unbelievable. I mean, you can tap the screen, it'll head to whatever you tap the screen on. It has multiple compasses, so there's not flyaways, but it's really small. I mean, I wish I should have brought it, but it's hand size. If you had a really big pocket, you could fit it in your pocket. It's really awesome drone for what it is.
I really want one. It's
awesome.
It's expensive, but that was going to be an impulse buy for me, and they were out of stock, thankfully.
Yep.
They've been really hard to get.
I recommend. I sold my Phantom 4 or Phantom 3 last year, and I should have never sold it because it's one of those things that sometimes I just want to video things in the air, and I made that mistake, and I'm not going to do it now. I probably won't be upgrading every time they come out with a new one, but sometimes I want to film my kids in the air. Sometimes, my grandpa's like, "Hey, I want to look at my roof on my house. Can you do it?" No, I sold my phone. So it's cool. It's cool to have it. It'll follow you. I plan on following myself on the dirt bike. You can just tap on the screen where you want it to follow you, and it'll go up to 40 miles an hour, and it has obstacle avoidance where it won't hit a tree. It's really sweet.
I've watched probably 40 or 50 videos on that. Love it.
It's not near as fun as the racing quadcopters, which I love, but it's just a totally different thing. It's not the same. Not
It's
even
the
same
Apple
ballpark.
quads. I mean, really.
They are, and it works. It's hard to argue with how much it works, but you can always build one if you want to build one and go that route. But this is out of the box, good to go, and I mean, video that looks professional.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Incredible. I've seen the stuff that comes out of that box, and it's just like, wow.
Yep, it's amazing. So if you have a lot of money and you want a drone, it's actually not a lot of money compared to the other ones, but they're all expensive. I did look at buying another Phantom 3, and I looked on eBay and I bid and went back and forth, and I just said, you know what, they're still bringing a lot of money, and it's just not worth it to me. I just said I'm going to buy what I want. And that's what I did.
Yeah. My brother-in-law is a drone guy. He actually built his own. He just built a 6-blade.
Oh wow.
And I forgot what size he said the motors were, but they're giant motors too. He said he literally tried to take off while he was calibrating it.
Oh wow, they're fun to build, and I've built several. They're a blast.
Yeah. All right, so let's tell everybody how they can get in touch with us. I'm super easy to get a hold of at Bill Stebbins on Twitter, and BillStebbins.com for everything else. Patrick?
All right.
You can find me on Twitter at LSU Law 2009, and of course, you can find me on the XP podcast.
Brian,
you guys can find me on Twitter at BWFELDY.
And you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Donnie Benfield, and it's Donnie with a Y. And I'll try to answer you back. I don't stay on Twitter a lot these days, but I get on there occasionally.
All right. And so if you want to follow the Simulcast, do a search for the Simulcast or TechSide on your podcast client. You can also subscribe. We're still in iTunes, I believe. We'll find out after this show. And we're definitely in the Google Play music thing. Take time to leave a comment or a review. We also have a Patreon page, and that's part of the TechSide Network's Patreon. That gives you an opportunity as our dedicated and loyal listeners who are glad that we're back, an opportunity to support us for as little as $1 a month. So if you'd like to support us, visit patreon.com/TechSide. you can tweet us at the Simulcast, or you can email us. That's not it. It's podcast at thesimulcast.com if you want to get a hold of Dave, Steve, Jeff, myself.
And me.
I'll get that fixed. And you can also go and check out the website at techside.net/simulcast. And then also be sure to check out all the other great podcasts that are on our network and the TechSide store at techside.net. So thanks for listening. Good night.
Night, guys.
Good night.
Peace.